integrity. With much satisfaction, we've noted that we have achieved great success in the fight against terrorism, the collective fight. We reaffirmed our commitment to build up cooperation in order to finally eliminate Jabhat al-Nusra, ISIS and other terrorist groups. We all believe that the success on the battlefield, making the final liberation of Syria closer and closer, opens up new possibilities for the resolution of the crisis as a whole. And I mean the real prospect of achieving a long-lasting, comprehensive normalization in the territory of Syria, political restructuring in the post-conflict era. That is the ultimate goal of our joint statement. That document outlines the priorities for further cooperation on that issue. Cooperation between Russia, Turkey, Iran, the three countries which played major roles in the Syrian settlement. We've outlined the concrete tasks for the immediate future. We all believe that we need to push forward the cooperation on the Astana platform that already proved to be a useful platform, which already allowed us to reduce the violence and create the environment for the return of migrants and refugees and internally displaced persons. As guarantors, we, the three countries, continue to work closely in order to reinforce the cessation of hostilities regime, to ensure the operation of the de-escalation zone and enhancing at the same time the confidence-building measures. In that area, we outlined the first steps to be taken to start the inclusive inner-Syrian dialogue based on the 2254 resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. With much satisfaction, I would like to note that presidents of Turkey and Iran have supported the initiative to convene the All-Syrian National Dialogue Congress in Syria. We also agreed to organize that event at the necessary level, at the high level, ensuring the participation of a broad layers of the Syrian society. We've instructed the foreign ministries of our countries, representatives of the special services, our defense ministries, to work out the concrete dates and modalities of this Congress here in Sochi in these days. Well, we mean to convene and invite the delegates from different political parties, both inside and outside of Syria, different opposition groups, different ethnical and religious groups. This Congress is to see the discussion of the future of Syria, which has to do with the outlining of the parameters and modalities of the future political structure of Syria, new constitution, and, of course, elections under the observation of the United Nations. This will give an impetus to step up our efforts on the Syrian Geneva talks track. I'd like to highlight again that the future of Syria should be defined by the Syrian people, and we believe that it should be both the government and the opposition. We informed our colleagues on the talks with President of Syria, Bashar Assad. We've highlighted the fact that the Syrian government is adhering to the principle of the peaceful resolution and that they are ready to hold constitutional reforms and free elections under the auspices of the United Nations. During today's talks, we also spoke of social and economic revival of Syria. We are in for a tremendous amount of job, helping the Syrian people to create the infrastructure, industry, agriculture, trade anew, to open again the social infrastructure, kindergartens, hospitals, schools. It is of principal importance, and we've been highlighting that many times again, that we need to step up the humanitarian aid coming to the people. We need to clear off the minds of many territories of Syria, preserving the cultural and the historical heritage of that wonderful country. Today, we agreed to do all we can to stimulate other countries to join in their efforts, both regional and international organizations as well. In conclusion, I would like to thank my colleagues from Iran and Turkey, my colleagues President Rouhani, President Erdogan, for a very insightful talk, very resultative talk. I hope that these arrangements will allow us to really speed up the settlement process, alleviating the risks for further conflicts, alleviating the tensions between the ethical and confessional groups. This way, having very positive influence of the whole situation in the Middle East. Thank you for your attention.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قبل از هر چیز باید تشکر کنم از رئیس جمهور پوتین به خاطر این ابتکار مهمشون برای اجلاس سران سه کشور در زمینه صلح و ثبات در سوریه و شرایط امن در سوریه برای بازگشت آوارگان. اهمیت این اجلاس این هست که در یک زمانی این اجلاس برگزار میشه که از یک طرف نشان داده شده در طول 11 ماه گذشته که همکاری‌های سه کشور میتونه تاثیرگذار باشه برای کاهش تنش در سوریه و زمینه رو برای صلح و ثبات در سوریه آماده بکنه. اجلاس هایی که در آستانه برگزار شد و از طرف دیگر این گفتگو در زمانی واقع میشه که پایگاه های اصلی داعش هم در سوریه و هم در
عراق از بین رفته و نابود شده و بنابراین ISIS bases in Syria and Iraq have been destroyed for the most part. And we have formed agreement. We have agreement in the region regarding the issue of fighting terrorism. Terrorism cannot be used as an instrument by any country. Terrorism is always a threat to any country. We see that those who helped ISIS now threaten the states. They kill innocent civilians. This meeting has been very important. We've exchanged our opinions on most of the issues. Our main goal is to start the National Dialogue Congress, the Inter-Syrian Congress, which would involve all the representatives of all the population of Syria, those who support the Syrian government and those who oppose it, so that they could come together and discuss the future of Syria and create conditions for laying down a new constitution. And then, on the basis of this new constitution, there would be new elections in Syria, which would in turn become a message to the world, a message of peace and stability for the entire region. Our three countries call upon all the nations of the world to assist us in maintaining peace in Syria and creating conditions for the return of Syrian refugees to their homeland, as well as maintaining conditions for economic restructuring, economic rebuilding of Syria. We have expressed our views, and all three countries have agreed that we should hold the National Dialogue Congress here in Sochi. We have also agreed to hold meetings on the level of foreign ministries of our countries, on the level of special services of our countries, who will hold meetings to work out the details of the National Dialogue Congress. We believe that this Congress will be a next step towards stability and peace in Syria. It will also be a step towards free and open elections on the basis of a new constitution. Once again, I would like to thank Mr. Putin for his invitation, as well as Mr. Erdogan for participating in this meeting. And I hope that this process for the sake of peace will continue.
Distinguished friends, esteemed members of the delegations, members of mass media, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome all of you from the bottom of my heart. First and foremost, I would like to express deepest gratitude to my friend, Mr. Putin, to our Russian friends. With Russia, we are continuing our close ties, bilateral ties, regional ties. Thanks God, we are collecting the fruits of our cooperation across the board. I'd like to highlight that we agree with Mr. Putin that we need to step up our efforts. The framework of our bilateral meeting with Mr. Rouhani, we came to the common denominator that we need to increase the cooperation across all spheres. Turkish members of mass media, during today's talks with Mr. Rouhani, Mr. Putin, we conducted very important discussions. We discussed very frankly many matters relating to our today's agenda. We again assessed the necessary steps to be taken to install the ultimate ceasefire in Syria. With much satisfaction, we've seen that the key role in alleviating the tensions was played by the de-escalation zones. We also talked about the steps to enhance the Geneva process in order to achieve a lasting solution to the problem, also relying on the decision made at the Astana platform. On the other hand, I would like to say that we have come to the understanding that we need to support a full-scale, transparent and accountable political process as set forth in the 2254 resolution of the Security Council of the United Nations. Also, I would like to highlight the fact that our actions should be coordinated. We should be running in parallel in order to greatly contribute to our work. That can be done during the Congressional Dialogue Summit, which will be convened upon the initiative of the Russian Federation. Also, I would like to add that today's statement is the first step signifying an increased cooperation between us. It demonstrates that we are most willing to continue our cooperation. I also would like to note that it is very important to have the understanding between all three countries. And certainly, we do take into account the positions of the government and the position of Syria. We, the guarantors, we have the critical role in that matter. Also, I would like to say that the terrorists who threaten our countries, who threaten the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Syria, will be the targets of our operations. No one thinks that we can be on the same page with terrorist organizations. We adhere to the principle of territorial integrity of Syria and political integrity of Syria. And this way we cannot see terrorists as legitimate side in that process. During the consultations with Mr. Putin, with Mr. Rouhani, we focused on the necessary efforts to build up the confidence-building measures. To carry out these measures on a gradual basis, we need to open the free and unfailing access of humanitarian aid to the people who have been trapped for many years, and trapped and isolated. All the arrangements we made today contribute to our ultimate goal. And I think that today's outcomes will be implemented as a plan of actions to be taken one after another. I also think that these meetings will contribute to the peace in that region, and I welcome all stakeholders and responsible members of the international community to support our efforts on this track. Thank you.